If your code works perfectly in development, congratulations, you're either lying or you haven't deployed yet. Every developer has experienced this moment. Everything looks perfect. The code works locally, tests pass, logs look clean, confidence is high. And then you deploy to production, which is technically the same code running on the same planet, but spiritually, an entirely different environment. So why does this really happen? Why does perfectly good code survive development only to immediately combust in production? Let's break down the real reasons, and more importantly, how to stop doing this to ourselves. Problem number 1, environment mismatch. Your code works perfectly on your machine, which is impressive because your machine is basically a fantasy world. You have the latest node version, a database that's already seeded, and environment variables that were set 3 months ago and never touched again. Production doesn't get any of that. It has a different operating system, a different database version, different environment variables, and sometimes a completely different personality. So when you deploy, you're not shipping your code, you're introducing it to a stranger. And that stranger has no idea what API key you were talking about. Development is a warm, safe place. Everything is preloaded, everything is forgiving, and everything works. Production is the real world. The real world has missing variables, old dependencies, and data that doesn't care about your assumptions. So when things break, they're not actually breaking. They're just finally being honest. And the real world doesn't care. Problem number 2, CI/CD betrayal. Pipelines are great until they aren't. They promise automation, consistency, and emotional stability. Everything looks perfect. All the steps light up green. Tests pass, build succeeds, confidence skyrockets. And then one step quietly fails, just for a moment. But it recovers so fast, you never even see it. The pipeline keeps going, because technically, it didn't fail. It just experienced a minor character flaw. So you get the final message, build successful, which is pipeline language for good luck in production, because what actually got deployed was half the app from 3 commits ago, built on a cached layer that no one remembers approving. And when production immediately catches fire, the logs say everything is fine. The pipeline says everything is fine. And the only thing that isn't fine is your weekend. Sure it was. Problem number 3, async and concurrency. Locally, you have one user, one request, one peaceful little function call. Production has hundreds of users, all at once, all clicking the same button, all believing they're the only one. Your code was written for a calm conversation. Production turns it into a group chat with no moderator. So 2 requests hit the same cache at the same time. Both check if the value exists. Both see nothing. Both decide to create it. And congratulations, you've just invented a race condition. Everything worked perfectly in development because nothing was racing. Nothing was fighting. Nothing was trying to win. Production is different. Production is competitive. It introduces timing issues you didn't know were possible, bugs that disappear when you add a log statement, and errors that only happen when you're not watching. So when your screen starts shaking and the logs politely say, race condition detected, just remember, your code didn't suddenly break. It just finally met other people. Good luck. Problem number 4, data lies. Your local database is clean. Production data is haunted. Locally, every field is filled. Every type is correct. Every value behaves like it read the documentation. Production has records from 2014, migrated twice, touched by 5 different services, and emotionally unavailable. You test with age as a number. Production sends it as a string, then a null, then a very confident undefined. Your code expects order. Production delivers improv. So when your JSON slowly morphs from beautiful to concerning, That's not corruption. That's reality. Real users skip fields. Real imports break rules. And real data does not care what your schema intended. So when your logs say expected number but received emotional damage, just remember, your app didn't fail validation. It finally met the internet. Problem number 5. Observability too late. Everything looks fine until it isn't. Locally, you have logs everywhere. Console.log, debug mode, full visibility. You know exactly what's happening and when it's happening. Production is different. Production has log levels, sampling, rate limits, and a budget. So the one error you actually needed to see happened 3 hours ago, in a service you didn't open, in a dashboard you don't check. And you find out about it the modern way, from a user, on a Sunday. By the time you open the logs, the stack trace is gone, the metrics look calm, and the incident has already written its own story. So when monitoring finally tells you something is wrong, it's usually not breaking news. It's a historical documentary. And production never includes the director's cut. So how can we improve? Treat production like it will betray you. Not because it's evil, but because it's honest. Start with configuration as code. If it isn't versioned, reviewed, and documented, it doesn't exist. Use realistic data, not perfect demo data, not happy path data. The kind of data that looks like it was typed at 3 in the morning. Log before you need the logs, because the only thing worse than a bug is a bug with no evidence. And finally, expect failure. Not in a pessimistic way, in a professional way. Assume things will break. Design like they will. Monitor like they already did. Because when you stop hoping production behaves and start planning for when it doesn't, that's when deployments get boring. And boring is the goal. So if you've ever deployed on a Friday and immediately started questioning your life choices, congratulations, you're officially part of the profession. Today it was environment mismatch, missing secrets, pipelines that swear they didn't do it, race conditions that only exist when you're not looking, and data that refuses to behave like a responsible adult. None of this means you're bad at your job. It just means production is very honest. So if this felt a little too real, subscribe. Not for motivation, not for inspiration, just for the comfort of knowing it's not just you. And production still doesn't care. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.